Good evening and welcome to No Epilogue Productions Dracula. I'm your host for the evening, the Scarecrow. And before we get into the show that you all came to, we have some hair-raising curtain raisers for you. First, we're going to start off with Darin Dunston. Darin Dunston's going to take you all to school today and teach you an alphabet like you've never known it before. It's frightfully fun. And so now, I will turn this over to my good friend, Darin.
The Ghastly Crumb Tinies, or After the Outing, by Edward Gorey. A is for Amy, who fell down the stairs. B is for Basil, assaulted by bears. C is for Clara, who wasted away. D is for Desmond, thrown out of a sleigh. E is for Ernest, who choked on a peach. F is for Fanny, sucked dry by a leech. G is for George, smothered under a rug. H is for Hector, done in by a thug. I is for Ida, who drowned in a lake. J is for James, who took lie by mistake. K is for Kate, who was struck with an axe. L is for Leo, who swallowed some tacks. M is for Maud, who was swept out to sea. N is for Neville, who died of ennui. O is for Olive, run through with an awl. P is for Prue, trampled flat in a brawl. Q is for Quentin, who sank in a mire. R is for Rhoda, consumed by a fire. S is for Susan, who perished of fits. T is for Titus, who flew into bits. U is for Una, who slipped down a drain. V is for Victor, squashed under a train. W is for Winnie, embedded in ice. X is for Xerxes, devoured by mice. Y is for Yorick, whose head was knocked in. Z is for Zilla, who drank too much gin. 26 children, all shallow and vain, went on an outing in the chilly fall rain. Their walking companion, tall, pale, and grim, had lessons for naughties who are cruel to their kin, and instructed the tinies to heed good advice. But they didn't, alas, and they now feed the mice. 26 children whose end was abrupt. 26 children whose number is up.
Now, I hope you were all paying attention because there may be a pop quiz on that alphabet tomorrow. Thank you, Darin. And now, to change just a little bit of the tone, I bring you Mr. Frank Franconeri, a man with only one face, but 100 voices, in a piece that he refers to as the Monster Maker.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for being brave enough to join us tonight as Rosie the Turtle Productions joins forces with No Epilogue Productions to bring you this new spine-tingling tale of terror. The Curse of Frankenstein's third cousin twice removed. Our story takes place within the castle walls of the world's most eager would-be mad scientist, Dr. Irving Frankenstein. Why, here he is now, having a heart-to-heart with his trusted assistant, Igor. Tonight, Igor, I am going to make a monster.
Oh, Yvette, not again. Master, we've been through this before. You don't even know how to make toast.
I know, Igor, I know. But listen to me, Igor. We are living in unprecedented times. I am a mad scientist living here in this creepy old castle. If I don't do something nutty, I will be left out of the Union.
Oh, but Dr. F, I thought we were going to stay home tonight and watch that webinar, How to Weave a Better Basket During Hard Times.
Oh, that was the night. Oh, I really wanted to catch that. But no, we mustn't dawdle, Igor. No, let us be off to the cemetery. I am a lean, mean, monster-making machine. Now, you grab the shovels and I will grab the Twinkies.
The Twinkies?
I don't know about you, Igor, but digging up graves gives me the munchies. And with that, the two wacky friends locked up the castle, hailed a cab, and hightailed it over to their friendly neighborhood cemetery.
Oh, boy. Yes. Oh, boy, Master, it feels good to be outside getting some fresh air, doesn't it?
Oh, it sure does, Igor. Oh, there's nothing like walking through a graveyard on a cold, dark night to make you feel alive. Oh, look, over there. Goody. There's a grave we can dig up. What's the name on that tombstone? Anyone we know?
Oh, let me see, Master. It says Boris Legosi.
Oh, a complete stranger. Good. Let's start digging.
Oh, say, Master, after you've raised the dead, do you think you could raise my salary?
Don't press your luck, Bobby. Irving and Igor continued to dig graves until the wee hours of the morning, and when they were finished, they headed back to their creepy abode that they affectionately called Trump Castle.
Okay, Master, all right. All these switches are in place, and we're ready to go.
Wonderful, Igor. I am so nervous right now. I've never done anything like this before. I feel like I'm building the boat as I'm sailing it.
Wait, I thought it was building the plane as you're flying it.
Oh, who cares, Igor? Who cares? Stand back, Igor. I am going to pull the switch and bring my monster to life. I must not have any interruptions. Good evening, Doctor. Count Dracula, you undead son of a gun. How did you get in here? I flew in through the window. Well, what do you want? Can't you see that I'm busy? I'm sorry to bother you, Doctor, but I just wanted to stop by to remind everybody that in just a little while, the good people at No Epilogue Productions will be broadcasting the story of my life, and that I, yours truly, Count Dracula, will be starring in it. Do you mean to say that you interrupted the most important experiment of my life for some shameless plug? Of course. Okay, good. You did your job. Now flap your wings and go. Spoil sport. Ta-ta.
That Count Dracula is always such a ham, isn't he?
Yes, well, now he's a bat. But thanks to him, I'm running behind. I better not get any more unwelcome visitors.
You mean like me?
Who said that?
It is I, the Invisible Man.
Hey, Invisible Man, it's good to not see you. Count Dracula was just here. I'm sure if you left right now, you could catch up with him.
Was Dracula here? I didn't see him.
Well, I'm sure he could say the same about you. So, what do you want? I'm busy.
Oh, I just stopped by to say howdy and to wish you good luck on your experiment.
Invisible Man, you're being very transparent right now. What do you really want?
Well, can I use your bathroom? I got a tinkle.
Upstairs.
Thank you, Doc. When I'm done, I'll see myself out.
You'll be the only one. Okay, Igor. Okay, back to work. Get ready to pull the switch.
Oh, 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 oh. Mister, did you hear that?
Oh, yes, I did. It's Luigi, the mafia werewolf. I forgot to make my monthly payment. He'll rip me to shreds.
Oh, Master, we are living in unprecedented times, aren't we?
Yes, Igor, enough of that one already. Okay, now, only my monster can save me now. Pull the switch, Igor.
Yes, Master.
Oh, nothing can save you now, Doc. You owe some individual type people some money, and I come to collect.
Oh, come on, Luigi. Come on, give me a break. If you do, I will buy you a new flea collar.
That's it, Doc. That's it. You've made me holy mad. I'm gonna pulverize you.
Excuse me. Can't a girl get a beauty rest? Master, look, your monster is alive and talking. Only it's not a he-monster. It's a she-monster.
Hey, baby, you're well built.
Well, yes, can thank Dr. Frankenstein for that. Would you like to take me out on a date?
Grab hold of my paw and let's vamoose. Would you like to go bowling?
Sounds like fun. Bye-bye, Irving. Thanks for creating me.
Oh, well, Igor, back to the old drawing board, but not tonight. Oh, I'm so tired I could plots.
Oh, but Master, you shouldn't plots yet. Do you know what tonight is? It's Halloween.
Oh, goody, I almost forgot. Come, let's get into costume and put on our masks.
But Master, I don't want to put on a mask.
But it's Halloween.
Well, it's my right to not put on a mask if I don't want to.
Igor, with a face like yours, it's best for all concerned that you not only put on a mask, but that you leave it on. Thank you very, very much.
And thank you very, very much, Mr. Franconeri. And now, one last treat before we get to our main event. Martin Pfefferkorn is going to present a poem from the master of horror, Mr. Edgar Allan Poe. It's called The Spirits of the Dead.
Thy soul shall find itself alone, mid dark thoughts of the grey tombstone, not one of all the crowd to pry into thine hour of secrecy. Be silent in that solitude, which is not loneliness, for then the spirits of the dead who stood in life before thee are again, in death around thee, and their will shall overshadow thee. Be still. The night, though clear, shall frown, and the stars shall look not down from their high thrones in the heaven, with light like hope to mortals given. But their red orbs without beam to thy weariness shall seem as a burning and a fever, which would cling to thee forever. Now our thoughts thou shalt not banish, now our visions ne'er to vanish. From thy spirit shall they pass no more, like dewdrop from the grass. The breeze, the breath of God, is still, and the mist upon the hill, shadowy, shadowy, yet unbroken, is a symbol and a token, how it hangs upon the trees, a mystery of mysteries.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the vampire created by Mr. Bram Stoker, as No Epilogue Productions presents Dracula.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Arthur Seward. I am here tonight to bear witness to the truth of certain events which you may find hard to believe, but I ask you to believe them. I have here certain documents, telegrams, clippings from the press of the day, memoranda and letters in various hands. All needless matters have been eliminated so that the history, almost at variance with the possibility of contemporary belief, may stand forth as simple fact. I present you first with excerpts from the private journal of Jonathan Harker.
I, Jonathan Harker, lawyer and clerk to the Honourable Peter Hawkins, Esquire of Exeter, England, am writing this journal in the hope, if misfortune overtakes me, it may one day come to the eyes of those who love me. I set out from London on the last day of April to visit one of our clients in Eastern Europe. On May the 3rd, I arrived in Budapest and came after nightfall to Klausenburg on the border of Transylvania. At Bistritz, there was a letter of welcome for me from our client informing me that his carriage would await me at the Borgo Pass. It was signed Dracula.
Bukovina, couch to Bukovina.
The road was rough, but still we seemed to fly over it with feverish haste. When it grew dark, there seemed to be some excitement among the passengers. They kept speaking to the driver and looking at me, and urging him on to greater speed. The crazy coach rocked on its leather springs. The mountains seemed to come nearer to us on either side. Coachman! Coachman!
What is it?
Where are we?
You are nearing your destination, young hare. This is the Borgo Pass.
Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread.
There were black, rolling clouds overhead in the air, and heavy oppressive sound of thunder as we went through the pass. I looked out the carriage window and saw that somehow a carriage with 4 horses had drawn up beside us without making a sound. The coachman did not say a word. He just placed my bag in the carriage and climbed back up to the reins. He wore a muff high over his mouth, and his hat came low over his brow. All I could see were 2 sharp, piercing eyes. We began to move. I looked back. The coach and its load of passengers had vanished from sight. We swept into the darkness of the pass. I struck a match. It was within a few minutes of midnight. The dog began to howl somewhere down the road. The wind was rising. It moaned and whistled through the rocks, and the trees crashed together as we swept along. It grew colder and colder still, and fine powdery snow began to fall. The baying of wolves sounded nearer and nearer, as though they were closing in around us on every side. We kept ascending, always ascending. The frightful howls grew less, and presently they ceased altogether. And just then the moon broke through the black clouds, and by its light I saw a ring of wolves running beside the carriage in silence, with white teeth and lolling red tongues, with long sinuated limbs and shaggy hair.
Welcome to my house.
I must have fallen asleep. The carriage had pulled up in the courtyard of a vast, decrepit castle. The coachman nowhere to be seen.
Welcome to my house. Come freely, go safely, and leave something of the happiness you bring.
Count Dracula?
I am Dracula.
His face was strong, very strong, and aquiline. The mouth, so far as I could see under the heavy moustache, was fixed and rather cruel-looking, with peculiarly sharp white teeth.
Do you hear them, Mr. Harker?
The wolves?
The children of the night. As you say, Mr. Harker, the wolves. Listen. Come now. There are many things you must tell me. About tomorrow and the estate you have purchased for me.
Why, yes.
The estate is called Carfax, I believe.
Yes, that is so.
But now, let me detain you no longer. You will find your room in readiness, and I advise you not to leave it during the night.
This castle is on the very edge of a terrible precipice. A stone falling from the window would fall 1,000 feet without touching anything. I explored. There are doors, doors, doors everywhere, and all of them locked. The door to the great hall, the door to the courtyard, every door in the castle is closed and bolted against me. This castle Dracula is a prison, and I am a prisoner. The next night I couldn't sleep, so after a few hours I got up, and lighting my candle, I placed my shaving mirror on the dressing table and was just beginning to shave.
You seem restless, Mr. Harker.
I hadn't seen him, although the reflection of the glass covered the whole room behind me. I turned the glass again. Count Dracula was close to me, and I could see him over my shoulder, but there was no reflection of him in the mirror. It was blank. I cut myself on the side of the throat. The blood was trickling down my neck. Count, my mirror.
The blood, wipe the blood from your face, Mr. Harker, and take care how you cut yourself. It's more dangerous than you think in this country.
When I woke, I found most of my things were gone. My passport, my notes, my letter of credit. I could find no trace of them anywhere. And my door was locked from the outside. June 20th. There is work of some kind going on in the castle. Now and then I hear far-away muffled sounds of pick and spade. And last night, the second of the predated letters which Dracula made me write, the second of that series of letters which to blot out all traces of my existence, went forth. Count Dracula.
Yes, my young friend.
Well, what of me? When am I free? When can I leave this place?
Free. Mr. Harker, you are always free. You want to leave. Would you like to leave tonight?
Yes, yes, in God's name.
My dear young friend, not an hour shall you wait in my house against your will. Come, follow me. The door seems to be bolted. The door is locked.
Well, in God's name, open it.
As you will, Mr. Harker. You English have a proverb which is very close to my heart. Welcome the coming speed, the parting guest. Good night, Mr. Harker.
Shut the door, I tell you, shut the door!
The door is shut, Mr. Harker. I take it you will remain.
Morning, June the 30th. These may be the last words I ever write in this diary. Oh God, preserve my sanity. I have never seen Count Dracula by day. At sunrise, at the first cock crow, he is gone. I don't understand these things. I only know that the wolves obey him and that he is a man with hair on the palm of his hands, with sharp teeth and no blood in his face. He casts no shadow. He cannot be seen in a glass, and he moves like a bat across the sheer face of the castle walls. He eats no food and is mortally afraid of the crucifix. As I write, I hear in the courtyard the rolling of heavy wheels and the cracking of whip. And there is in the passageway below a count of heavy boxes being set down, boxes shaped like coffins. And I know what they hold, filled with holy earth from the chapel beneath the castle, the last box being nailed down, and now I hear the heavy feet trampling again. The door is shut. Chains rattle. In the courtyard and down the rocky way, the roll of heavy wheels, the crack of whip. Help! 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 The wagons have gone. I am alone in the castle. I am alone in the castle. I'm alone in the castle. I'm alone.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Harker's journal terminates at this point. I now present a clipping dated August 8th of that year from the Yorkshire Telegraph from our correspondent in Whitby. One of greatest and suddenest storms in record was experienced here today. The weather was somewhat sultry, but Saturday evening was fine. The band was playing, the piers were crowded with holiday makers. The wind fell away entirely during the evening, and there was a dead calm. There were but few lights at sea. The only sail noticeable was a foreign schooner under full canvas, which seemingly going westward. A little after midnight came a strange sound from over the open sea and high overhead. The air began to carry a strange, full, hollow booming. Then, without warning, the tempest broke, and there, with all sails set, was the foreign schooner rushing with terrific speed towards the shore. A searchlight was turned on her, and there, lashed to the helm, was a corpse with drooping head which swayed horribly to and fro with each motion of the ship. A moment later she crashed, and then a strange thing was seen. At the very instant she touched, a huge dog sprang up from the deck below, and running forward, jumped from the bow onto the sand, and making straight up the east cliff toward the graveyard, vanished into the night. The Coast Guard, going aboard at dawn, found the dead man fastened to a spoke of the wheel. Tightly clutched in one hand was a crucifix. The man must have been dead for quite 2 days. In the pocket of the dead man's coat was found a bottle, carefully corked, containing a roll of paper. This proved to be an addendum to the ship's log. There was found on board only a small amount of cargo, and that of the most unusual nature. Apparently, the ship carried nothing but earth. Common earth, packed away in wooden boxes, shaped much like coffins.
Log of Demeter, Russian flag, Black Sea to Whitby. July 6th, finished taking in cargo. Queer cargo. Boxes of earth. At noon set sail east wind. Crew, 4 hands, 2 mates, cook, and myself, captain. July 11th, entered Bosphorus at dark, passed through the Dardanelles. Mate reported in morning that one of the crew, Viodin, was missing.
Took the watch 8 bells last night. He was relieved by Telesian, who came to his bunk. There is something aboard this ship. No, don't laugh, Captain. In the rain last night, a tall, thin man go up companionway and along the deck forward and disappeared. And when I go to the bow, nothing. And all the hatchway is all closed.
July 22nd. Rough weather last 3 days. All hands busy with sail. No time to be frightened. Past Gibraltar and out through straits. All there. July 24th. Last night another hand was lost. It disappeared.
Like Teligan. Leave for the watch midnight. This is never seen again. I take the watch alone no more. Double watch! Double watch!
July 29th. I had single watch last night as crew too tired to double. Then morning comes up. Hey, below! Baliki! Is Baliki below?
Balaki is gone!
Balaki's gone!
Like the others! Like all the others!
The mate and I have agreed to go armed henceforth. July 30. Last night we are nearing England. Weather fine, all sails set.
Captain! Captain!
Now only mate and myself in one hand left to work ship. August 3. 2 days of fog and not a sail sighted. At midnight I went to relieve the man at the wheel, and when I got there, find no one there.
It's here! It's here! I know it! I saw it! Like a man! Tall, thin, pale! It was in the barge looking out. I gave it a knife! And my knife went through it.
What?
Empty as air.
What is it? What are you talking about?
It's here. I'll find it. It's in the hold, in one of those boxes of earth. I'll unscrew them one by one and see.
He is mad. He's stark raving mad. He It's no use me trying to stop him. He cannot hurt those big boxes. They are invoiced as common earth.
Ah! He's there! Down in the hold! I know the secret now! The sea will save me from him! That's all that's left! That's all that's left!
August 4th. I am all alone on my ship. And still the fog. I dare not go below. I dare not leave the helm. So here all night I stayed, and in the dimness of the night, I saw him, I saw it. God forgive me, but the mate was right to jump overboard. It is better to die like a sailor in the blue water, but I am the captain, and I must not leave my ship. I shall tie my hands to the wheel when my strength begins to fail, and along with them I shall tie that which it dare not touch, my crucifix. I am growing weaker. The night is coming on, and God and the Blessed Virgin help a poor ignorant soul trying to do his duty. Ah!
Telegram. Seward, Purfleet. To Van Helsing, Amsterdam. Lucy Westenra in alarming condition. Cannot diagnose. Come at once. Seward.
Telegram, Seward. This is Van Helsing, Amsterdam, to Purfleet, to Seward. Am on my way to you. Please arrange to re-examine patient immediately my arrival. Van Helsing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I must now explain that 6 months before the events recorded here, I had become engaged to a young lady, Lucy Westenra. We were to have been married in the spring. My old teacher, Professor Van Helsing, arrived at 4 the next afternoon. I took him at once to Lucy's house. She lay in her bed asleep. She was ghastly, chalky pale. The red seemed to have gone from her lips and gums, and the bones of her face stood out.
Seward, young miss is bad, very bad. She must have blood, or she will die. And yet, she is not anemic. The qualitative analysis of the blood gives quite normal condition. It is strange. I do not like to think how strange. Look. Mein Gott, her throat, look.
The black velvet band that she always wore had dragged up a little and showed a red mark on her throat. Just over the external jugular vein were 2 punctures, not large, but not wholesome looking. The edges were white and worn looking. Well, what is it, Professor? What's wrong with her? Speak frankly, you can tell me the worst.
I wish I could, Seward. I wish I could. But I do not dare.
But won't you tell me anything?
I will tell you this. Your young lady is in a danger greater than death. You must believe me. If you leave her for one moment and harm befalls, you will not sleep easy thereafter.
Sleep? He'll never sleep again. The blood will call him. The blood always calls.
Who is?
Renfield! How is it you keep escaping? Barnes! Barnes!
You called Dr. Renfield or Dr. Seward? Renfield, you devil! I had you under double lock!
Locks can't hold me, Barnes. Your straitjackets can't hold me. The master gives me freedom.
Take him back to his cell, Barnes.
Listen to the blood, Doctor. If you don't listen to the blood, you will lose her forever.
Get him out of here.
Yes, sir. Come on, you.
The blood is calling, Doctor. The blood is calling.
Who was that, Seward?
A very troubled and extremely troublesome patient. R.M. Renfield, a zoophagus maniac.
Ah, he eats the living creatures, huh?
Yes, mostly vermin, flies, roaches, rats.
How long has he been here before Miss Lucy began to have these attacks?
I don't see how the two are related.
How long?
Maybe 2 weeks, but...
Get some rest, Seward. Get some rest. We have a long night ahead.
September 8th. I stayed up all night with Lucy.
Arthur, darling, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of what will happen when the night comes.
My dear Lucy, you can sleep peacefully. I'm going to be here watching you all night.
But the dreams may return. They always do.
I promise at any sign of bad dreams, I'll wake you.
You will? Will you really? Then I'll sleep.
I sat all night by her bedside. She did not wake once all during the night. Even when the boughs or a bat or something flapped most angrily against the window pane.
What a wonderful night's rest. Oh, Arthur, darling, I feel so much better. I know I shall have a full recovery.
September 11th. Still quoting from my private journals. At this time, I received a message from Purfleet. It read, 10:20 p.m., St. John's Hospital. Serious complications. Case 891. Your immediate presence, London, imperative. I had no choice. Some time later, a paper was found among Lucy Westenra's belongings.
I write this and leave it to be seen so that no one may by any chance get into trouble because of me. I went to bed as usual, taking care that the window was closed as Dr. Van Helsing had directed. I waked about 2 a.m. with a great feeling of dread. I went to the door and called out, "Arthur! Arthur!" There was no answer. I went back to bed and tried to sleep, but could not between my fear and the sound of flapping at the window. Something's broken a window. I am in the room, alone, yet for some reason I cannot leave to go out to the rest of the house to find Dr. Van Helsing. The air is full of specks, floating and circling in the draught from the window. The moonlight filters in on a mist and my oil lamp burns blue and dim. Somewhere near a bell is tolling, and now all the dogs round the neighborhood begin to howl. And in a shrubbery just outside my window, a nightingale is singing. Something very sweet and very bitter is all around me, and I feel as if I am sinking into deep water. The wind is rushing through the open window and brings the singing swirling about my ears.
You shall be flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood.
Arthur? Dr. Van Helsing?
Blood of my blood.
September 12th. Late. Only resolution and habit can let me make an entry tonight. We found Lucy sprawled on the floor. There was a draught in the room from a broken window. Her neck was bare, showing 2 ugly wounds, looking horribly white and mangled.
We are too late, my friend. We have failed in our task. God's will be done.
Lucy's Dying then?
She is dying. Stay beside her. It will make much difference, mark me, whether she dies conscious or in the sleep.
It was almost sunset before she opened her eyes.
Arthur, you've returned. Oh, my love, I'm so glad that you've come.
I took her hand and knelt beside her. Her breath came and went like a tired, peaceful child's.
Arthur, darling, you'll stay with me, won't you?
Of course I will, my love. The light from the setting sun fell on her face, and then, insensibly, a strange change came over her. Her eyes grew suddenly dull and hard. Her breathing was heavy. Her mouth opened, and the pale gums drawn back made the teeth look large and sharp.
Arthur, my love, my darling, come. Kiss me, my darling.
Of course, Lucy.
No, not yet. Hold her hand. That will comfort her more.
Silly old man. Don't listen to him, Arthur. Come, my love. Kiss me. Kiss me!
Not for your life. Not for your living soul and hers.
He stood between us like a lion at bay, holding before him a golden crucifix like a shield. Then suddenly, we saw a spasm of rage flit across Lucy's face like a shadow.
Stop him! You're a fool, old man!
Lucy!
Look, Arthur. The marks on her neck.
They're gone!
Arthur, help me.
She is dead.
Poor Lucy. She is peaceful at last. The end.
No, not so. This is only the beginning. Wait, and you will see.
Extra special, Hampstead order!
The Westminster Gazette, September 25th on Hampstead yesterday. The Kensington horror, the stabbing woman, and the woman in black are vividly recalled to mind by a series of events that have taken place recently in the neighborhood of Hampstead. Several cases have occurred of young children straying from home or failing to return from their playing on the heath. In all these cases, the children have given us their excuse that they have been with a beautiful lady who offered them chocolate. In each case, the child was found to be slightly torn or wounded in the throat. The wound seems such as might be made by a rat.
Extra special!
Or a small dog.
Read all about the Hampstead order! Read about the beautiful lady! Read about the beautiful lady! Extra special, the Hampstead horror!
The Hampstead horror, another child injured by the beautiful lady. We have just received intelligence that another child missing since last night was only discovered late in the morning. He had the same tiny wound in the throat. Well, Seward, what do you think of that? You mean to tell me, my friend, that you have no suspicion as to what poor Lucy died of?
Nervous prostration following great loss and waste of blood.
Yeah, and how was the blood lost or wasted? You were my best student, my friend. You are a good doctor. But you do not believe that there are things you cannot understand. You are wrong, Seward. Are you aware of all the mysteries of life and death? Can you tell me why in the pampas there are bats that come at night and open the veins of cattle and horses and suck dry those veins? how in some islands on the western seas, there are beds that hang in trees all day. And then when the sailors sleep on deck because it is hot, sweep down on them. And in the morning are found dead men, as white as Miss Lucy was.
I understand none of these things.
Ah, Seward. Seward, after tonight, if you dare to come with me, perhaps then you will understand.
September 29th, before dawn. Now it is done, and I would sooner die 1,000 deaths than relive again what I have done tonight.
We will spend the night, you and I, here in this churchyard where Miss Lucy is buried. We will enter the tomb.
And then?
We open the coffin. You shall yet be convinced.
Take care, Van Helsing.
Miss Lucy is dead. Is it not so? Then there can be no wrong to her. But if she is not dead.
With some difficulty, we found the Westenra tomb. I took up my place behind a yew tree on one side of the tomb, Van Helsing on the other. I was chilled and frightened. Suddenly, I saw something moving between two yew trees, a dim white figure which held something to its breast. I could not see the face, for it was bent down over what I saw to be a fair-haired child. There was a sharp little cry, such as a child gives in its sleep, or a dog as it lies before the fire in dreams. Then the thing saw us. She drew back with an angry snarl.
Curse you! You fools will not stop me. He has given me his strength. I will destroy you both!
The lovely blood-stained mouth grew to an open square. If ever a face meant death, I saw it at that moment. Then, suddenly, she turned and vanished in the direction of the tomb.
The child is not harmed. We leave him in a safe place where the police can find him. There is more for us to do, Seward. Come.
Now we are in the tomb. There in the coffin lay the thing, which a nightmare of Lucy. The pointed teeth, the blood-stained mouth. Van Helsing never looked up. From his bag he took out a book, his operating knives, a heavy hammer, and a round wooden stake some 2 or 3 inches thick, sharpened to a fine point and hardened over a fire.
Seward, the life of this unhappy woman is just begun. When she becomes what you may call undead, there comes with that change the curse of immortality. She cannot die, but must go on, age after age, adding new victims. Because all that die from the preying of the undead become themselves undead and prey on others. And so the hellish circle goes on, ever widening as it ripples from a stone thrown in the water. But Seward, if this undead, be made to rest as true dead, then the soul of the poor lady, whom we love, shall be again free.
Tell me, what am I to do?
Take the stake in your left hand, the hammer in your right.
Yes.
Place the point over the heart.
Yes.
Now, when I begin the prayer for the dead, in God's name, strike. Are you ready?
Arthur, my love.
Lucy.
Strike.
Arthur, join me.
Strike now. Domini Jesu Christe, file de vere, emas tuis apre.
On the morning of July 11th, a man was found on the border of Transylvania. He talked wildly of wolves and boxes of earth and blood. He gave his name as Jonathan Harker. In the hospital at Klausenburg, he improved sufficiently to make possible his removal to England. I am still quoting from my personal papers. But then, his condition remained so serious that he was committed for observation to a private ward in my hospital at Purfleet. Here he did so well that in 3 weeks he was completely recovered. It was during this time that his wife, Mina Harker, brought to the attention of Dr. Van Helsing and myself the journal that her husband had kept while a prisoner in the castle of a certain Count Dracula in Transylvania. I have before me the record of a meeting that took place in my study at Purfleet, transcribed by Mina Harker.
October 1st. Meeting began soon after 8. Jonathan next to me, Dr. Seward after Van Helsing at the head of the table.
My friends, there are such things as vampires. Had I only known at first all now I know, one so precious life might have been spared to those of us who love her. Mr. Harker's Count Dracula is Vlad the Impaler, bloody tyrant of 400 years ago. And this Nosferatu, this monster, is of himself so strong that he can direct all the elements, the storms, the fogs, the thunder. He can command all the meaner things, the rat, the bat, the owl, the fox, and wolf. How then are we to begin a strike to destroy him? How shall we find his place? And having found it, how can we destroy it and him? And my friends, it is a terrible task that we undertake. To fail here is not mere life or death. For if we fail, we become as him, foul things of the night, as him. Well, what do you say?
I answer for myself.
I'm with you.
The professor laid a small golden crucifix on the table. We took hands and our solemn pact was made.
You see, we too are not without strength, my good friends. The vampire must have the blood of the living. Without this, he cannot live. Now, he throws no shadow. He makes no reflection in the mirror. Mr. Harker, yes? He can transform himself to the wolf, the bat. He can come on moonlight rays as elemental dust and see in the dark. He can do all these things, and yet he is not free. His powers cease at the coming of the day. And then, until night, he must remain in the shape in which he finds himself. And only in his coffin home, in the earth of his burial, can he rest. When we can confine him in this box, then, my friends, if we obey what we know, we will destroy him.
At that moment, something swept wildly against the window, then...
Did you hit it?
I don't know.
We looked out of the window against the black sky. We could see nothing.
What was?
You fools! You cannot kill him with your useless guns.
Renfield!
Your ants fighting against a god. You cannot win.
What do you know of him, Renfield?
The blood will win. The blood calls.
Barnes!
Go away, Miss Mina. Go away while you can. Go away before his blood calls to you.
You hear the blood calling, Renfield?
All the time. I can't sleep for the din of it. It fills the air. The sound of it is like crashing waves filling the night. I am deaf from its call. Oh, please, doctor, send me away. Send me to where I cannot hear him.
Again? I don't know how he does it.
Send me away, doctor, so they don't have your blood on my hands as well.
Return him to his cell, Barnes.
Yes, sir.
Fool. I have warned you. He will have blood. I tried to tell you, Miss Mina. I am so sorry. But the blood calls. It calls. It calls.
Data in our possession. From the Count's castle in Transylvania to Whitby came 50 boxes of earth. All of these, to our certain knowledge, were delivered here to Carfax. But recently, 12 of these boxes have been removed. So, first step, ascertain whether all the rest remain in the deserted house next door, or whether any more have been removed. We must trace each of these boxes and sterilize the earth within with holy water, so he can no longer seek safety in them. And we must hurry.
The events of the next few days are described in Jonathan Harker's journal.
October 2nd, 5 a.m. Just returned from the empty house. Left Mina here at home. Well, we've done our work at Carfax. The place was filthy. The air stagnant and foul, and the whole place alive with rats. We counted the boxes, only 38 of them. And over each one, the professor went through his same mysterious work. It was dawn when we got back. I found Mina asleep. She looks paler than usual.
October 2nd. Soon after they left, I fell asleep. I remember hearing the sudden barking of the dogs, and then there was silence. I got up and looked out of the window. There was a thin streak of white mist moving across the grass along the wall of the house. It dawned on me that the air in the room was heavy and dank and cold. The gaslight came only like a tiny red spark through the fog. I could see through my eyelids. The mist grew thicker and thicker. Then, as I looked, the spark divided and seemed to shine on me through the fog like two red eyes.
You shall be flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood, blood of my blood.
October 2nd, 8 p.m. We're on the track. 12 boxes were delivered last week to an empty house at 347 Piccadilly.
Gentlemen, until the sun sets tonight, Dracula must retain whatever form he has now. We have this day to hunt out all his lairs and sterilize them. Then he will have no place to which he can move and hide. But we have only till sunset.
The house in Piccadilly was empty, like the one in Carfax, but the same sickening smell was in the air. On the table, we found a clothes brush, a brush, and a comb, and a basin, the latter containing dirty water, which was reddened as if with blood.
The boxes are back here. 8, 9, 10, 11.
Only 11?
There's a 12th box somewhere.
Gentlemen, it is after 6. The sun is setting, and we have no time to lose. He may return at any moment. Open these boxes.
Quiet. Listen. You hear it?
What is it?
It sounds like bats.
Look! The window!
blood.
You waste your bullets, gentlemen. You think you baffle me? You with your pale faces all in a row like sheeps in a butcher's. You think you have left me without any place to rest, but I have more, and time is on my side. The one you love is mine already. I have known her. Already my mark is on her throat.
My God.
Flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. She is with me always, over land or sea.
October 3rd, evening. Van Helsing has asked to interview the patient Renfield.
Renfield, Count Dracula placed you here in the asylum, didn't he? He told you to come here and become a patient, didn't he?
A very astute man, Professor Van Helsing. It's a shame you won't be alive for much longer.
But you admitted yourself at his bequest, yeah?
Yes. He needed to be invited in. He promised me a Saturnalia of blood if I helped him. A feast of blood.
Yeah. Vampires cannot enter a home or a building without being invited by someone who lives within. When Renfield was admitted, Seward, it gave him the ability to invite Dracula into your place.
Because of him, Dracula got to Lucy? I'll kill him! I'm gonna kill him!
No, Arthur, no. He is not responsible. He is under Dracula's control. We must find the fiend himself and destroy him.
You'll never find him. You'll never destroy him. He is too powerful. He is too strong. I need your help, Professor. Send me away. Send me anywhere that he can't find me. Someplace away from him so that day by day, night by night, he will not get another piece of my soul.
We'll get nothing more out of him when he's like this.
Yeah, I'm afraid you are right. Barnes, put him back in his cell.
Barnes was stationed outside Renfield's room that night. The following is what he heard through the door.
Promise me the blood. They promised.
Go to sleep, Renfield!
There's no blood. No blood at all.
Renfield.
Master?
Renfield, you have revealed much to those who seek to destroy me.
No, Master. No, I would never betray you.
Renfield, what's going on in there?
You are a treacherous, craven coward.
No, Master. I am your slave for life and after death. Please, please, Master. No, no! Ah!
Renfield, what? Lord, blimey. Renfield. Oh, his neck's broken.
October 4th, morning. Another meeting in the study at Purfleet.
Is Renfield dead? We must now totally rely on ourselves. We must find that remaining box, gentlemen. As long as that earth exists impure, as long as there remains one place of refuge for Dracula, there is no safety, no peace for any soul in England.
And for the undead, never peace so long as he lives. Blood of my blood.
Mina, how do you know that?
Quiet, listen.
With me always, over land and sea.
Mina, darling, how did you know that Dracula said those?
I don't know. The words just came. Strange how sometimes I feel that I am with him.
At sunset?
Yes, just at sunset. And again at sunrise. Dr. Van Helsing, if I could... If at that time you...
Have you the courage, miss?
Courage? For what? What do you mean?
Dr. Van Helsing here will question me.
I will question her, yes, in a state of hypnosis. The one you love is already mine, he said. She is with me always, over land and sea, he said. Ha, ha, ha. Now, Dracula, perhaps she will betray you, if she is really with you. This one we love. Who knows if she is really with you over land and sea?
Blood of my blood.
Mina?
Yes?
Answer me, Mina. Are you with him?
I am with him.
Where are you?
I don't know. It is all dark.
What do you hear?
The lapping of water. I can hear it on the outside.
Then you are on a ship?
Yes.
What else do you hear?
There is a creaking of an anchor chain.
And what are you doing?
Still. Oh, so still. It is like death. It's like death.
Here is a report from Madison Peabody, shipbrokers, dated October 5th. According to Lloyd's list, the only ship that left for the Black Sea yesterday was the Tsarina Katrina, bound for Varna. Some hours before she sailed, a man came alongside, all in black, driving a cart with a great box in it. This he lifted down single-handed and carried below. No one remembers having seen him after that, as heavy mist came up over Doolittle Dock until sailing time. The rest of London Harbour remained completely clear.
So, our plans are made. The average sailing time from London to the Black Sea is 3 weeks. But we can travel overland to the same place in 3 days. We shall be there waiting for him when he arrives.
October 15th. Arrived Varna about 5 o'clock. Mina seems stronger. Every morning before sunrise and just before sunset, she speaks to Van Helsing in a trance.
Are you with him, Mina? Tell me, are you with him?
I am with him.
What can you see?
Nothing. All is dark.
What can you hear?
I can hear the waves slapping against the ship and the water rushing by. The wind is high. I can hear it in the shrouds and the bow throwing back the foam.
The Tsarina Katrina is still at sea, on its way to Varna. The Count cannot cross running water, so he cannot leave the ship without being observed.
Now what do you hear, Mina?
Lapping waves, waves and rushing water. Darkness. Darkness and wind.
A whole week of waiting. Daily telegrams from Lloyd's.
Not yet reported.
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 Rushing water, creaking masts. Darkness. Darkness and wind.
October 24th, telegram Lloyd's, London to Harker. Tsarina Katrina reported this morning, Dardanelles.
Lloyd's, London to Harker. October 28th, Tsarina Katrina in heavy fog reported entering Galatz Harbour at 1 o'clock today.
No, but Galatz is 38 hours from here. And the first train leaves for us not until 6:30. My friends, we have lost.
I am with him. I can see nothing. I can hear his voices calling and the roll and creak of oars. I can feel the air blowing upon me.
October 29th. Evening. We are due between 2 and 3 in the morning. But already at Bucharest, we are 3 hours late.
Miss Mina?
Something's going on. I can feel it. Like a growing wind. I can hear far off men talking in strange tongues. I can hear falling water and the howling of wolves. Then another sound, a queer sound. Like
Like what? Speak, Mina. Speak! I command you! I command you to speak!
Arrived in Galatz. Saw Captain Zarina Katrina.
Men come aboard with order an hour before sunup. Received a box by the name of Dracula. Got his papers. Emanuel Hildesheim, his name was.
Mr. Hildesheim?
Yeah?
You unloaded a box yesterday.
I gave to Kyolov by order. Kyolov.
Mr. Kyolov?
No. This morning they find him dead inside the churchyard of St. Peter. They find him dead with his throat cut open.
October 30th, evening.
Now, there are 2 ways in which Dracula can get back to his home. By land or by water.
We examined the map and found the most likely river to be the Ceres.
You and I, Seward, will charter a steam launch and follow him up the river. Then Helsing and Mina will take the train to Veresti, and from there...
Yeah, and from there, Miss Mina and I will go in the track where you first went, Harker. From Bistritz through the Borgo Pass. If you have not caught him before, we shall be awaiting Dracula there.
October 31st. We arrived at Veresti at noon, Van Helsing and I. Brought a carriage here, and we start in an hour. Our enemy is still on the river.
October 31st. We can run a good speed up the river at night. There's plenty of water and the banks are wide apart.
November 1st. Evening. No news all day. We hear that a big boat went up the river before us, going at more than unusual speed.
November 4th. All day driving. The country gets wilder as we go. By morning we shall reach the Borgo Pass.
November the 4th. Evening. We have left the launch. We've got horses and we follow on the track along the river. We are armed.
Look! Quick! There they are now, heading west.
With the dawn, we could see the Slovaks some miles before us dashing on the river with their wagon. On it is the great box.
Late afternoon, we reach the Borgo Pass.
Van Helsing, look! Look!
From the hillside, we could see a long way all around us. Far off, beyond the white waste of snow, was the river, like a black ribbon curving. And between us and the river, not so far off, comes a group of men, mounted Slovaks, hurrying along. And in the midst was a wagon, which sweeps from side to side. On the wagon is a great box.
Look!
And then come 2 horses following fast, up from the south. Seward and Harker. The Slovaks with their heavy wagon are losing ground. And now our men are not more than a mile behind. Now the wagon is very close to us. We see the great box swaying gravely. And now they are all almost upon us. And then, quite suddenly, we hear him. His voice echoes in our skulls.
You think to defeat me. Already my lifespan outnumbers your combined 3 lives by centuries. Many centuries, gentlemen. Long after you are forgotten in dust, I shall still walk the earth and rule the night. And you think to kill me? The man death himself cannot overtake. I shall take the flesh of my flesh from you, and I shall kill you all.
And now, this happens a great, strange thing. The wagon smashes into a great rock buried in the snow, loses the front wheels, and turns over on its side, jammed up against the stone. The horses tear loose from their traces and bolt, and the Slovaks scatter and vanish after them. And then, silence. Silence like comes after the ringing of bells.
Look. His face.
It is Dracula, sprawled out, stiff and twisted in the dark smear of his own holy earth. The box falling has emptied it all into the snow. His face is old looking. The skin is like paper. Dr. Seward, there is no time. Look at the sun.
Sunset.
In 1 minute there is darkness and he is forever lost to us. Have you the stack of wood and the hammer?
Here.
Yeah, now, Seward, pray for us. Kneel down and pray. Harker, place the stake of wood over his heart. Be not afraid, Harker, but do not look into his eyes. The hammer. Now, Harker, strike. Strike.
Flesh of my flesh, guilt of my guilt, death of my death, speak and be manifest in the destiny instant of your master's spell. Elements of darkness, rain, evil winds, mist and mold and tempest.
Strike!
The others couldn't, but somehow I can hear him, speaking behind his eyes.
Claw, wing, tooth, scale, tissue of flesh, death of my death, dead and undead. The hand of the living is over your master. Console him, my children. This instant is no longer than the space between 2 heartbeats. But in night I am here, and I am lonely. Come to your master, my children. Beguile him now in the instant of his peril. Beguile him now with the sound of your names. Claw, wing, tooth, scale, tissue of flesh.
For God's sake, strike, Harker, strike!
There is one very near to me who has not answered. My love, Mina. There is less than a minute between me and the night. You must speak for me. You must speak with my heart.
Give them to me. Jonathan, give them to me. The stake of wood and the hammer.
Harker?
I shall never forget that moment. The look on poor Mina's face as she stood there, the angry scar standing out on her throat, her eyes like living coals in the last red of the sunset. She had torn the stake and hammer out of my hands with the strength of an animal. Mina! Do you know what you've done, woman? Do you know what it is you've done to us? You've released him. The evil is free.
Look, the sun.
As we looked down on Dracula, the eyes saw the sinking sun, and the hate in them turned to triumph.
Flesh of my flesh, come to me, my love. Come into the night and the darkness. You have served me well, my love, my bride, my...
Ladies and gentlemen, all the evidence in this case is now before you. I've added nothing to the best of my knowledge, and I have omitted nothing that might help throw light on the extraordinary events of the year 1891, which culminated on that terrible evening in the Borgo Pass. There remains only this one lost report.
Dr. Van Helsing, we cannot hear you.
When Mina Harker seized the stake and hammer from her husband, I believe she was under some form of trance, yeah? She herself remembers nothing. But whatever influence was at work on her, she must at the last moment have rejected it. For at the exact instant the sun disappeared, it was Mina Harker who drove the stake to the heart of the thing that called itself Dracula. And at the same instant, even as we looked, the wound on the side of her throat was no more. As for Vlad Dracula, before the scream of the creature had died from our ears, the whole body crumbled into dust and passed from our sight. But in that final moment of dissolution, there was in the face a look of peace, such as I never could have imagined might have rested there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. And in case Count Dracula left you a little apprehensive, a word of comfort. When you go to bed tonight, don't worry about this story. Just put out the light, go to sleep. That's all right, that's all right. You can rest peacefully, that's just a sound effect. But over there in the shadow, see? See? Oh, there's nothing, nothing at all. I think it's nothing. But always remember, ladies and gentlemen, there are werewolves. There are vampires.
Such things do exist.
Thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen. cast, if you could stay on, and if the rest of you have some pleasant dreams and a very happy Halloween.
Thank you. It was wonderful.
I thank you.